that stuff back, and we won't have a problem.
I ain't got no problem.
Oh, yes, you do.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 worst superhero castings.
2 years I rotting in that hell, and I ain't never.
For this list, we're looking at the worst decisions when it came to casting some of our favorite superheroes. As such, we won't be including any villains on this list. Which superhero casting scorned you the most? Share your pain with us in the comments below. Number 20. Eric Bana as Bruce Banner / Hulk. Hulk.
Talbot, yeah? You're making me angry. Oh, am I?
Ang Lee's 2003 take on Marvel's Green Goliath is mostly seen as a tedious slog mixed with some very questionable comic book aesthetics. And at the heart of it all is the miscast, though usually good, Eric Bana. Bana's Bruce Banner doesn't really tap into the nerdy side of the character most readers and viewers know and love.
Yeah, you're great with that stuff. You start talking about microbes and nanomeds, you sound almost passionate. Sorry. That was rude.
Yes, Banner is tragic, but it's important to see how much he loves the world of science and the wonder it fills him with. It's an important aspect viewers wouldn't get until much later with Mark Ruffalo's version of the character in the MCU.
Is that the only word on me?
Only word I care about.
Number 19. Jessica Biel as Abigail Whistler. Blade Trinity. Even as a wholly original character, Jessica Biel was still miscast. Here, Biel plays Abigail Whistler, leader of the Night Stalkers, a group of vampire hunters. But we never actually bought her in the role as a fierce, badass warrior.
Scream if this hurts, Chica.
Everything was just a bit too stiff from the line delivery to the fight sequences. The entire film is campy to the max, with co-stars like Ryan Reynolds and Parker Posey having fun hamming it up. But Biel always seems to be trying too hard to be cool in what is largely a ridiculous movie. It just doesn't fit.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Don't let it turn inward.
Number 18. Malin Ackerman as Laurie Jupiter / Silk Spectre 2. Watchmen. There's a lot that Zack Snyder's adaptation gets right about Watchmen, but one of the weaker aspects of the movie is unfortunately Malin Ackerman in the role of Laurie Jupiter.
I'm sorry. I invite you out to dinner to catch up and have a few laughs, but there don't seem to be that many laughs around these days.
What do you expect? The comedian's dead.
Laurie is an incredibly conflicted character, jumping off the page of the graphic novel and entrancing readers. But on screen, she comes off rather flat and uncharismatic.
You always say you want to comfort me. Well, it isn't working.
We ultimately not only don't care about the character, but also the romance between Laurie and Daniel. Considering that takes up a big portion of the runtime, it's a shame the character wasn't brought to life as well as the others. Carla Gugino as the first Silk Spectre, on the other hand, a completely different story.
Every day, the future looks a little bit darker. But the past, even the grimy parts of it, keep on getting brighter.
Number 17. Taylor Kitsch as Remy LeBeau / Gambit. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Are you Remy LeBeau?
Do I owe you money?
No.
Then Remy LeBeau I am.
Gambit is a fan-favorite member of the X-Men. Unfortunately, the only version we've gotten on the big screen as of this publication was a big disappointment.
Where'd you get this thing anyway?
Oh, this is my baby. I want to earn a game. Jack's over 5.
Great.
Although he's only in the film briefly, the casting director should have gone with someone who can do an actual Cajun accent. Kitsch tries, but it comes out blended with a generic southern drawl that doesn't sound quite right on the ears. He also plays the fun-loving mutant a bit too seriously. But to be fair, there are much bigger problems in X-Men Origins Wolverine than just him. Fans who follow the movie news know we continually came close to getting a version starring born Southerner Channing Tatum, but it never came to pass. Pity.
Yeah, it's a tough one, too. I looked it up on the Google.
Number 16. Isabel Cornish as Crystal. Inhumans.
What's going on?
Maximus is trying to take over Adelan.
What? How?
It's a coup.
Have Lockjaw bring you to Triton and Gorgon. You must escape now.
No, we all have to escape.
Crystal.
Inhumans was a train wreck of a show, no doubt about it. While none of the cast really turned in their A game, it was relative newcomer Isabel Cornish who stood out the most. Cornish played Crystal, the youngest member of the Inhuman royal family. Her time on Earth is spent coming of age and falling for a human, already the least exciting part of the show.
Kiss me.
Yeah.
Her chemistry with co-star Chad Buchanan was essentially non-existent. While that could be chalked up to poor dialogue, Cornish's other scenes were also pretty weak. The comic character is extremely strong-willed, but none of that's displayed in this portrayal. Number 15. Ian Glenn as Bruce Wayne / Batman. Titans.
Bruce Wayne.
This one is all kinds of weird. Titans is a fairly strong recreation of the team, but Dick Grayson's former mentor sticks out like a sore thumb. There's nothing about Ian Glenn's performance that's particularly bad, but he's just not a good fit for Bruce Wayne. His appearance, from his age to his hair color to his build, is completely different from what viewers and stalwart comic book readers expect. Though we've had non-American actors play Batman before, Glenn's thick Scottish accent also frequently peeks through. So whenever he appears on screen, all we can see is Jorah Mormont in a suit.
Well, perhaps after this conversation, I'll take an entirely new approach.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Fair enough. Old dogs, etc.
Number 14. Alicia Silverstone as Barbara Wilson / Batgirl. Batman and Robin.
And you are?
Batgirl.
That's not awfully PC. What about Bat Person or Bat Woman?
No, we didn't mix up Batgirl's last name. In this movie, Barbara isn't related to Commissioner Gordon. And that's just one of the many elements they got wrong when they brought this character to the big screen.
Uncle Alfred.
Oh, my dear. Oh, my dear. What a most wonderful surprise.
Apart from that important character detail, this Batgirl is a far cry from her highly skilled and vastly intelligent comic counterpart. While the character was written completely wrong from the get-go, Silverstone's performance unfortunately makes it worse. Silverstone may have seemed like a sure bet at the time coming off of Clueless, but her Razzie Award for Worst Actress speaks for itself.
They kicked me out. But it doesn't matter because I've already won all the money I need to do what I've always dreamed.
Well, just don't tell me you want to run off and join the circus.
Number 13. Nicolas Cage as Johnny Blaze / Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is fascinating as one of Marvel's darkest characters, but his first film adaptation did anything but make us want to learn more about him.
I sold my soul to the devil.
While we love Nicolas Cage as much as the next person, his performance as the devil's bounty hunter leaves a lot to be desired. In some scenes, his Johnny is dull and uninteresting, while in others, he's completely over the top. With no good middle ground, it's a bit too hard to take the character seriously. As one of the deadliest, most badass superheroes in Marvel's roster, this should have been a lot more thrilling than it was.
Sure wish things could have turned out different.
Number 12. Sierra Renee as Kendra Saunders / Hawkgirl. Legends of Tomorrow.
Kendra?
Sarah, I'm so sorry.
Legends of Tomorrow has a lot of rotating characters. While the show's later seasons have gotten better at managing its large roster, it suffered at the onset. One character that suffered the most was Hawkgirl, and Sierra Renee's largely stiff performance didn't do the character any favors.
I don't believe that.
The comic version is a fierce, take-charge hero, yet we never got to see that in the show. Even in more intense scenes, Renee never made us feel the appropriate emotions. Coupled with the show's poor writing, the portrayal makes us grateful that Hawkgirl's story didn't continue past season 1.
I didn't get to tell. I didn't get to tell. I felt the same way.
Number 11. Sylvester Stallone as Judge Joseph Dredd. Judge Dredd. Thank the film gods, this isn't the only big screen adaptation of Judge Dredd.
You're making a big mistake.
Well, Dredd, Maybe the law doesn't make mistakes, but I'm free and you're toast.
While the set design was terrific, that's pretty much the only praise we can give it. At the core of its infidelity to the source material is Sylvester Stallone as the central character.
Wouldn't it feel good to have an emotion once in a while, huh?
Emotions. There ought to be a law against them.
Instead of coming off as gruff and intimidating, the way a dystopian judge, jury, and executioner should be, Stallone mostly plays Dredd as wooden and robotic, whereas in other scenes he simply yells his way through the dialogue with little emotional conviction.
Sarge! The evidence has been falsified! It's impossible! I never broke the law! I am the law!
No wonder the movie is considered one of Stallone's worst. Number 10. Jessica Alba as Sue Storm / Invisible Woman. Fantastic Four. Sue Storm is a fearless explorer, an iron-willed ally, and an extremely clever hero. On the page, that is. But when it comes to her big screen debut, not counting the no-show adaptation from 1994, we essentially got none of that.
Look at me.
I can't.
What do you mean you can't?
Sure, Jessica Alba provided the obligatory eye candy of poor comic adaptations of the time, but very little beyond that. It was impossible for audiences to take her seriously as a scientist, partially because of how terribly written and presented the character was.
Johnny, you were at 4,000 Kelvin. Any hotter and you're approaching supernova.
Sweet!
No, not sweet. That's the temperature of the sun.
Though behind-the-scenes clashing with director Tim Story probably had something to do with it, it doesn't change that the Sue Storm we got is flat and surface level. Number 9. Finn Jones as Danny Rand / Iron Fist. Iron Fist. Netflix nailed the casting for its street-level heroes with one glaring exception.
Let's go. You don't belong here.
I'm Danny Rand. Now, come on, guys, just call Harold.
You're out of here.
When Finn Jones's Danny Rand wasn't perpetually whining and getting fooled by almost everyone around him, he was utterly failing at being a noteworthy warrior.
I don't want to hurt you.
None of the action did justice to the immortal Iron Fist, one of Marvel's most talented fighters. While Jones had stated a tight schedule led to him learning fight sequences a mere 15 minutes before shooting, stunt coordinator Brett Shan has since insinuated Jones simply didn't want to train. Regardless, it all compiles to an annoying, visually unimpressive depiction.
So you're saying I have more experience fighting the Hand than you do?
Well, if you want to get technical about it.
Number 8. Chris O'Donnell as Dick Grayson / Robin. Batman Forever. Speaking of annoying performances, it's no wonder we've gotten 0 live-action big-screen adaptations of Batman's right-hand boy since the 90s.
Go for a little ride on my love machine, baby.
In both Batman Forever and its horrendous follow-up, Robin spends the majority of the screen time complaining and acting out, which would make sense for an adolescent, but not for a guy in his mid-20s, which O'Donnell was when he appeared in Forever.
You're looking at your new partner.
No.
Bruce, whenever you go out tonight, I'll be watching. And wherever Batman goes, I'm gonna be right beside him. I mean, how are you gonna stop me?
I can stop you.
Instead of garnering any sympathy, O'Donnell's performance made us yearn for Batman to go back to working solo. Maybe one day we'll get the layered representation Dick Grayson deserves, but you won't find anything like it here.
This is why Superman works alone.
Number 7. Jennifer Garner as Elektra Natchios. Daredevil. Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck may have had real-life chemistry on the set of Daredevil, but on screen? Not so much.
Nice to meet you, Matt Murdock.
Nice to meet you. I didn't get your name.
I didn't give it.
Garner earns the spot over her former husband with a double whammy of lackluster showings as Elektra Natchios.
I thought you were cool. I'm not.
Whereas the comic version and her later live-action depiction in Netflix's Daredevil series is a definitively terrifying femme fatale. Garner's incarnation holds none of the edge or intensity. Additionally, she doesn't offer any of the allure that we know pulls Matt Murdock in so deeply. And not to be sticklers or anything, but the casting probably should have skewed a little more Greek. Just saying.
No Greek tragedies, okay?
Number 6. Seth Rogen as Britt Reed / Green Hornet. The Green Hornet. We're all for comedic actors trying to branch out, but not when it turns out like this.
Kato, I want you to take my hand, and I want you to come with me on this adventure.
I'll go with you, but I don't want to touch you.
Normally hilarious Seth Rogen plays the titular vigilante as a watered-down, unlikable, much less interesting version of the risque characters that made him a star. Modern audiences likely weren't familiar with the Green Hornet before seeing this revival, but Rogen doesn't do much to leave a lasting impression, causing us to immediately forget everything about him.
And everyone knows what happens when you corner a hornet. You get stoned.
You get stoned. What does that mean?
This could have been a great opportunity to kickstart a franchise with almost no strings attached and create a new fan base. Instead, Rogen's Britt Reed is only remembered as a horrible miscast. Number 5. Will.i.am as John Wraith/Kestrel. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
There's no redemption where I'm going.
I ain't asking.
Taylor Kitsch wasn't the only terrible miscast in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Black Eyed Peas' Will.i.am appeared as John Wraith, known as Kestrel in the comics, a mutant with teleporting abilities. Thankfully, Fox didn't besmirch Nightcrawler's good name.
Shouldn't have done that, 'cause now I'm gonna kill you before Logan even gets a chance.
It's not like the singer turns in a horrible performance. In fact, he barely turns in one at all because he's so briefly in the movie. The problem is that it genuinely feels like they simply casted a musician because he was famous at the time. Will.i.am therefore sticks out like a sore thumb and brings little to the table.
Hey, be nice. Or be your approximation of nice.
Number 4. David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So, we meet again, Fury.
Well, I'm not surprised, Pincer. Guys like you tend to cling to the bold no matter how many times you flush.
It's a shame that Hoff looks so much like the classic version of the comics character because the performance he turned in for this TV movie was, for all intents and purposes, laughably bad. Fury is a fairly serious character, yet every time Hasselhoff opens his mouth, it's some pretty cheesy acting, even for a late 90s superhero movie.
You know he's even uglier than I remember. Your frozen pop-sickle. Get it, Andrea? Pop-sickle? You know, that's the problem with the Third Reich. No sense of humor.
Sure, the dialogue isn't anything remarkable, but a solid performance could have salvaged it. There were plans for this to lead to a TV show, but with a hero this poorly represented, we aren't surprised in the slightest that it didn't happen. We much prefer the Samuel L. Jackson interpretation.
Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to exit the donut.
Number 3. Shaquille O'Neal as John Henry Irons/Steel. Steel. At the height of Shaquille O'Neal's attempt to break into acting, he starred as Superman's frequent comic book ally, Steel. And we deeply wish that someone had the foresight to steer him in the opposite direction.
And on behalf of the citizens of Los Angeles, I would like to apologize.
Shaq's size is indeed superheroic, but he simply doesn't have the acting chops to carry a movie, let alone a superhero blockbuster. Every line he delivers either makes us cringe or laugh, making it impossible to take him seriously. He may be a dunking legend on the basketball court, but his line delivery makes even his free throw game look good.
I never could make the free throws.
Number 2. Halle Berry as Patience Phillips/Catwoman. Catwoman.
Hold it right there. Don't you move. Now, come down from there, nice and easy.
Cats come when they feel like it, not when they're told.
Moving past the baffling decision to not develop a straightforward Selena Kyle movie, Halle Berry's performance as the feline-themed character is astonishingly bad. Most of the movie's horrendous reputation isn't her fault, as both the script and action sequences are truly awful. But as the role calls for her to literally act like a cat, we have to wonder why Berry signed on at all. As bad as it is, it's honestly a fascinating study in overacting. Nearly every scene makes us groan with dissatisfaction, the exact opposite of the comic character. Nothing is mysterious or captivating about Patience Phillips.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Sorry's not nearly enough.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. George Clooney as Bruce Wayne/Batman. Batman and Robin.
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
How George Clooney, one of Hollywood's most charming actors, managed to turn Batman into such a lifeless character has been confusing Bat fans for years. On paper, he seems a great fit to play the socialite and secret vigilante. In execution, he's far from it.
Why are all the gorgeous ones homicidal maniacs? Is it me?
To be fair, the Batman and Robin script is so horrible that it would be difficult for anyone to turn in something worthwhile. On the other hand, it doesn't appear Clooney is trying at all. Every line is phoned in and deadpan, leaving us with something incredibly shallow.
Never leave the cave without it.
There are a multitude of reasons this movie stopped the franchise in its tracks, and Clooney's Bruce Wayne is one of the most prominent.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.